The Member of Parliament for Saudai, Roxanne Nelson Eche Komi Dafamako is here in the studio. Good morning to you.
Morning, my dear.
Yeah, I said everything right, right? Oh,
yes,
happy New Year.
Yes,
we haven't met this year.
Phonetically right.
Yeah. Thank God.
Nice to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Sorry, I've been away for like 3 weeks.
I envy you.
Yes, from the 24th of December till about 3 days ago.
Good for you. When are you back in Parliament?
On the 29th.
Okay.
Right. That we haven't received anything to the contrary.
Okay.
To an earlier or a later date. So that's all we have.
Okay.
Now.
Great.
It was good to have been with my people.
Yes.
In the Christmas New Year, fixing their roads, fixing their street lights.
Fixing roads?
Yeah, it's reshaping, I should say.
But why are you doing that? I mean, as an MP?
Yeah, it's, as an MP, I have that prerogative to use a portion of my common fund.
Right.
Yes, to do. It's not much, but where it's capable of doing this for your people, we should prioritize it. And our roads are in an atrocious state, as in condition. So I decided to apply a chunk of my common fund to reshape a lot of the feeders. And indeed, apart from Askuma to Peve, which is the Eastern Corridor Road, and from Avetile to Udome, where we have bitumen surfacing road, all the other roads, over 135 kilometers of road network. Every single one of them, it's a feeder road.
Wow.
Lobby.
Yes. Yeah. Well, government area has no money. When they have money, they'll come and do those that are under construction.
This is the infrastructure, Kojo, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So
now, do MPs still get that? Is it 34,000 or 36,000 for monitoring projects?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
we do.
Okay, so how does that work exactly? What do you use
We are
it for?
supposed to apply that to monitor ongoing projects. But to be very honest with you and to Ghanaians, what the MPs apply it to, some decide to pay school fees, because if you want to use all your common fund, then you may not be able to reshape roads, for instance, like I have done extensively in South Dine, or buy street lights and replace the old ones, so that you illuminate the communities and try to reduce petty thievery in the night and improve general security. So when we get the monitoring, we invite more application in terms of financial assistance, and then we grant them to the students.
Our political system has turned into something.
Yes,
something
I think we should go the Kenyan way. You know, the Kenyan way. Kenya experienced this about 15 years ago. So when they drew their new constitution about 2010, they did what they call the Constituency Development Fund. In fact, the whole of East Africa is copying the Kenyan model, which gives some funding to the MPs to become agents of development and not the district assemblies alone. Because I kid you not, we've become an agent of development.
Well, it's because of how we do our politics.
And in that one, it is well structured. The accounts are audited every year, and all. It's well structured. You have a secretariat that runs the projects and all. You are properly audited. And so this
we will not politicize the funds.
No. There's a law backing it. There's a law. No.
Members in the constituency.
No. There's a law backing it. The way, for instance, the common fund is not politicized because it's a constitutionally guaranteed fund that goes to the MP. Once the law backs it, it is immaterial which government is in power. Once you are the elected representative of the people, your office will be allocated and the funds will be applied in accordance of the basic rudiments of awarding contracts and all that, particularly in your locality.
Maybe someday we will get there.
Yeah, we need to.
We've got some local issues on our table this morning, and I thought let's begin with what happened last night in Medina. One of Anas's colleagues shot and killed. Yeah. And I'm sure you're familiar with all the events that happened in the aftermath of his documentary. Overnight and this morning, people have been talking about some threats, possible threats, because of the video that was produced by one of your colleagues in Parliament, Kennedy Ejapong. What's there? Because then, in that documentary, he showed the face of this gentleman and subsequently made some comments. How do we proceed from here? Who do we blame for what has happened?
First of all, let me seize the opportunity to extend my condolences to the family of the gentleman and the entire Inky fraternity. Instead of wishing them Happy New Year, sadly it has to be done on this note. I'm a practicing lawyer and I've done a lot of criminal cases. And so I'll be very careful to make certain comments because of the possible perspectives that will be brought to bear on the matter. I would just want to, I've looked at the video, and it's actually a video of a program that my honorable colleague held in one of his TV stations, in the studios of the TVs, and somebody recorded it. And so as it were, it's now gone viral, and people are talking. I want the police to interrogate all the issues, and interrogate particularly his perspective, so that they don't leave it hanging for people to get the opportunity to say all manner of things. They should speak to him, question him as it were, and get his perspective, and look at other trails and follow and make sure they bring the perpetrators to book. You see, between last year and this year, there have been a lot of such killings. And we speak of the Gapoa lady. Mm-hmm. Hers is the freshest, and before that gets a head start in terms of the investigations. Look at what we have on our hands. So I want to urge the security agencies. We don't know who will be next tomorrow. So want to urge them to really calm down on some of these things. And these are killings that are done out of the blue. So it's only investigation that can determine whether or not it was planned, or whether he had an issue with a group of young men, as a result of which, out of anger, but no anger should drive anybody to kill the other in the manner that they did, in the Rambo style, and then they bolted on a motorbike. It's unacceptable. But generally, our security situation is deteriorating. People are shot in their home. So you drive, you get home, you enter your bedroom, and you get killed. You sit by, you are in your car, you are driving, and you get shot. We should be able to improve the security situation. And I know the police are capable. I won't do politics with this matter, because I was personally attacked in my house 2 years ago. That was May 2017. And so when that happened, then I knew and understood why my colleague JB died. But for some divine intervention, I could have been part of the statistics. My colleague Kwame Agboja was shot at. His vehicle. He was shot at when he was driving. And that was last year. He could have been part of the statistics. So it is not because these issues concern high-ranking persons in society. Every day, if we really go down there, you see that the average person, some average persons meet such fate. We need to improve on our security, the general security situation in the country.
We've got a tweet from Anas we want to share. It's just really short. He says, sad news, but we shall not be silenced. Rest in peace, Ahmed. # journalism is not a crime. Say no to corruption. And there you have it, a picture of Ahmed as he appeared in that video, which was broadcast by Net 2 television. So that's where this picture is taken from. And that's Anas's tweets following the killing of his colleague Ahmed. Okay. But you know, just generally, your thoughts. If I threaten you publicly, and if I threaten someone, let's use someone else,
Just
and
threat.
the person,
Just threat.
yes,
Not
and the
even
person,
of death.
and the person dies, what
Yes.
happens? Like, you know, are
Now-
you responsible for anything?
Yes, you know, in our criminal jurisprudence, there are two things that must meet before a criminal charge is established against a person. But there are few of the offenses that you don't need the two elements. We talk of the mens rea and the actus reus, the criminal mind and the event itself. So if I say that I will come and break into your house and I don't do it, you can't make complaints against me.
For breaking in.
No. For just saying that I will break in.
Okay.
Because I may have the mens rea, but the actus reus is missing. I have not broken into your house. So there's no case. But few of the offenses, such as threat, you need only the actus. You need only to say it for an offense to be established. So for instance, if I say, I will kill you, that's threat of death. Okay, it's not even harm. If I say I will beat you up, that is threat of harm, physical harm. Or I will injure you.
But that could lead to death.
We don't know. I've only threatened you physical harm. Okay, whether it results in your mortality or not, we don't know yet. But that alone should warrant a criminal charge against me for issuing the threat of harm or and of death. We don't have to wait that you should die before the charges are leveled against me. And that is what our criminal jurisprudence is about. So when indeed this video initially came out, I don't know whether the gentleman made any complaints to the police against the honorable member. I don't know.
But you must make a complaint.
Yes, you need to, because you need to be a complainant. There has to be a complainant. The police could not suo moto, invite the honorable member of parliament that because he has said this on air, they need to as it were, take his caution statement. And if they think that the situation is such that it should warrant prosecution and the prima facie case is established, then they will take his charge statement and prefer the appropriate charges and arraign him before court on that charge. You may not have further witnesses apart from the video, which technically speaking they could successfully prosecute. The court will just look at the content of the video and place a probative value on it, as we say it in law, and make a determination as to acquittal and discharge, or a conviction and a fine.
So what charges are we referring to? Is it a threat?
Threat.
Okay.
This one was threat of harm. If you listen to the video, I think he was saying that wherever he is met, they should be beaten up and all. He was encouraging, inciting public sentiments against him.
Does it make a difference that he didn't threaten to harm him himself? That he simply invited others to do so?
Yes, it makes a difference that he didn't issue the threat, but he was inciting public anger against him. All right, and that also is part of our criminal. It's part of our criminal offenses. That you can be charged for inciting public anger against another. Okay, and it is important that we dispassionately discuss these matters. But as leaders, we should be extremely careful the kind of things we say, because you see, where there are miscreants in society looking for opportunity, they just look for opportunities such as this and carry out such dastardly act to dovetail into what is prevailing. then psychologically, everybody's perspective will be geared towards the person who created the situation. But indeed, he may not be the person who must have masterminded the act. The real masterminds are there. Maybe there are other issues that he may be working on. Yes, there may be. Yeah, exactly. There may be other issues that he may be working on that has threatened somebody's business or threatens to expose the crimes being committed against the state, and so they will be looking for opportunity to pay people hirelings to eliminate him, and they just look for this opportunity. And so that is why I'm saying that we should be careful. Let the police do their work.
Yeah.
And let's see where this leads.
How quickly would they do that? I mean, you mentioned at the beginning the other incidents that have happened, and the Gapoha, we don't even know where we are.
I don't even want to. If I want to play politics, then I'll go back all the way to JB Danquas there.
No, I mean, I'm not even politicizing it. I'm just saying that how confident are we that those who committed this act will be arrested?
If I want to be a bit mean, then I'll go back to JB Danquas. My own colleague of parliament dies or gets murdered in his bedroom.
But there's a court proceeding.
Yes, but I'm a lawyer. But you know, I don't think this is how we're taught to practice. Honestly, the sheer pace of progress of the litigation process or the judicial process, it's troubling.
What does that suggest to you?
When procedurally, a lot of things are churning now, affecting the progress or the pace of the trial, and every now and then some knowledge prosecutor is thrown in there. The charges are amended and reframed and resubmitted and all that. It's worrying.
But they say it's harder to prove crime, right? So
who says it's harder to prove crime?
Isn't it?
No, just do effective investigations. That's all.
So in your experience, what do you think might be the reason why we're seeing these delays?
I think we are having issues with commitment. Honestly.
Simple as that?
Yes. I've done criminal practice for almost 9 years before joining politics and going to parliament. Where the state is interested in matters, we were going back to court every other day. Which means if we were in court today is Thursday. Today is Thursday. It means Monday you are back in court. Wednesday you are back in court.
It's interesting. That was a member of parliament.
Sorry?
That was a member of parliament. That's a case that the state should absolutely be interested in.
If I want to be a bit mean, then I'll start with JB's case. The nature and the conduct of the trial of the accused persons, it leaves much to be desired.
Can I just push in this? Because in the last court hearing, one of the accused was asking for a lawyer from the ICC.
What does that even mean,
is
actually?
Is that possible?
I'm sure it was a red herring. I'm sure it was thrown into as a way of jest for people to laugh, because his right is to have a lawyer of his choosing. That's his
which
right.
They don't have.
Sorry?
They still don't have a lawyer.
Yes, why? Because the state ought to appoint one for him. Because the charge that he's facing is one of murder. And that is the statutory stipulations. He has a right to a lawyer of his choosing. If he cannot afford one, the state ought to procure one for him. Why are we not doing that?
But we don't have enough, do we?
Why? Do you know how many lawyers are qualifying every year now? In excess of 300, 500.
We're talking about the states. How many do we have as a state?
Why? When the law says the state should provide a lawyer, if the person cannot afford one, that becomes a matter of statutory provision. You can't breach it.
So whose responsibility directly?
This is the AG's. This is the responsibility of the AG's office.
And it doesn't have to be a lawyer that is already employed by the AG.
Just procure one for him. Look, the Constitution says we need to do this for you. And so, once you cannot afford one, we are providing you with this.
Could it also
if you are not comfortable with his level of professional competence, that's a different matter. You could ask that it be replaced. with somebody of your choosing. You could actually choose, but you can't pay. So the state will have to pay the person to defend you.
Could it be that no lawyer wants to be to take up the case?
Who says? I'm sure.
Would you?
There are a lot more terrible cases.
Would you, if the states turned to you?
If I were still in criminal practice and I'd been appointed by the state, I would do that. Because you see, your duty as a trained lawyer is not to be emotional about the matters. Is to do your professional best for the person, given the nature of the evidence. You don't have to handle the matter with public opinion in mind. Yours is to interrogate the evidence as professionally as you can, to the interest of your client. But the evidence is wishy-washy. Every now and then there's some procedural matter. And that is what is bothering me. So even if a member of parliament that was killed
and
in his bedroom,
he belonged to the ruling party as well.
Now
right?
the ruling party, at the time the event occurred, he was in the minority.
But that doesn't really matter. It's a crime.
I agree. But you just want to, sometimes you want to make these comments to place the matter in their proper perspectives. And if as a member of the government, there's this lethargic approach to prosecuting the accused persons, then I shudder to think what will happen to other persons. That's the point I'm making.
Well, we've talked about how...
That is why I took so much interest when we're promulgating the law for the OSP. And the key principle was for the OSP to operate expeditiously on matters, effectively, efficiently, with speed and dispatch. But unfortunately, it appears that office too has been bedeviled with the same.
The office is in the making.
No. You see, once we were contemplating framing the laws, we should have been providing the infrastructure for his function.
But that's not what we did.
Yes.
Yeah. We have other matters that we.
Yes, I was just talking about infrastructure and the law.
Yeah.
The Chief Justice has rejected a court building in Wasa, right, in the Western region. She says it's not fit for purpose, and she gave reasons,
Such as.
So one example that sticks in my mind is she suggests that there is no privacy, which she considers a necessary ingredient.
And not disability friendly.
That's right. That is also important. And based on that, she has asked them to either modify or replace it.
You see, as a member of the Judiciary Committee in Parliament, I felt sad. I felt sad.
By the comments, the rejection?
Yes.
That it didn't meet standards?
Yes, because that is the kind of headlines making the rounds.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
No, but it ought not to be.
What should it be?
Because you see, constitutionally, the judiciary does not provide infrastructure for hosting the courts. The CJ has the power to create the courts. But she hasn't got the spending power to build the court structures. So I was hoping that at the time the district assembly was providing the infrastructure at the cost of its construction, there would have been collaboration between the district assembly's office and the office of the judiciary, especially the judicial secretary, for them to make an input. Why do we have to complete a facility? I've seen the facility. It doesn't look bad. What the CJ could have asked for is that, look, there are a lot of structures because of modern issues. So you need to make it disability friendly. And it's just, they create a way to make sure that persons with disability who are using, for instance, the wheelchairs could simply roll in and enter the courtroom. It could easily be done in a week. It's a concrete work. That's one. Two, if you're asking for a chamber for the magistrates that they didn't provide attached to the courthouse, you could ask for those additional facilities. But the news out there is that a courthouse has been built and CJ rejects it, that it is not fit for purpose. I know courthouses that are operating under canopies. If I say, or a pavilion sort of structure, yes.
Courts under trees.
Do you understand me? I don't want to mention those magistrate courts. But they were structures that were built in the colonial days or in our early days of independence. But because of the desire for establishment of more courts in the districts, especially where new districts are created, once you create a district, it behoves on the judiciary to establish at least a district court in the capital. So hurriedly makeshift structures are put up to host the courts. We are not complaining about those ones.
Well, but the fact that bad structures exist doesn't mean that she doesn't have a right.
Yes. So the point I'm
this one
making is that
doesn't
what I wish I had read is that CJ commissions a new courthouse in the Western region, but asks for additional facilities. It sounds better to me than to hear that she's rejected the courthouse.
Which one would have given, I'm thinking, which one would give a quicker response? Which one would get the assembly acting? Is it if she had said, oh, but improve it? Because we are here in this country, we know how some of these things can drag.
The CJ is the fourth most powerful person in this country. When she comes to your district, commissions a project, and says that make civil arrangements, conduct other civil works, so that persons with disability in a wheelchair can easily access my courthouse, all right? Could access my court, because every court is the CJ's court. And two, I see that you don't have a chamber for the presiding magistrate. So I will demand, or I will request, that you make additional funds available and put up that for the magistrate. It sounds better to me, and it will achieve better results, you see. Because in addition to providing the courthouse, they also must provide an accommodation for the magistrate. But we haven't heard anything about the accommodation. So if the magistrate, that court will be handled by a magistrate from another district, then that will mean we'll be having additional duties.
Because she has to travel.
Exactly. So the issue of privacy after court, after adjournment, doesn't arise critically. Because when he or she adjourns, she could move to her base.
Is that fair?
It may not be fair, but we are...
Because sometimes even when the proceedings is on, when it's ongoing,
the privacy the court is held in public. So the privacy the CJ speaks of is for the judge to have a chamber. Every judge, there's a chamber. The judges' offices are called chambers.
Yeah.
So let me put... So it is the judge's office that perhaps is not attached as a facility. It's not attached.
But that's critical, isn't it?
I agree. Because that's where you sit to review your cases, and to write your judgment and all.
And to be fair, it's not just for the comfort of the judge. It's for the convenience of those who are, attending court.
Because some of the matters, especially the matrimonial causes matters, divorce and all, and matters concerning children generally, and some of the defilement cases are held in chamber. We call it in-camera hearing.
Oh, so it's still the judge's chamber. That's where this happens.
Exactly. That is why I am saying that I would have preferred that the facility is accepted by the judiciary or the CJ, and then a request is made for these additional facilities or accessory facilities to be added. It sounds better.
It sounds better, but you don't think this option will make it happen quicker?
No, I don't think so. The impression is so negative. And as a member of the committee that has oversight over these matters, I felt bad. Because they come to us with complaints of non-existent facilities and all that. In my district, in South Dine, we are about completing the renovation of the district magistrate court at Pekijobati. So
I hope that meets standards.
No,
there's a new
structure. No, it's an existing structure. So we are enhancing it. We are renovating
and you're doing it in collaboration with the Judicial Secretary, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
CJ visited the facility last month.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just one last thing. She said the Judicial Service wanted all court buildings standardized so that when a stranger walked into town, one can easily identify the courthouse simply by its design.
That's the point I want to make. That when they came before us during the review of their budget estimates for purposes of approving their budget for 2019, this issue came up. In fact, there was a colleague who raised the issue and thinks that it's a model we should adopt because courthouses should have one design and it should be identifiable wherever you go. And I have the same view about assembly head offices, district assembly head offices. We should have one model, one design, so that wherever you enter an area, you know that this is the district assembly's head office. Simple model. And to cut down costs, because you see, there are a lot of the designs, some are bigger than others, even though they're also designated as a district cost. You look at the cost implications, so high because there's lack of uniformity in design, in the architectural design of the buildings. If we make it uniform, it will reduce cost. The only cost that will be added on will be maybe because of the topography of the area or the nature of the land, which will have to be re-engineered for purposes of the building. That's where the additional cost may come in, and may be minimal. This is some of the policies we can adopt to minimize cost.
Okay. All right, Kojo, one more issue, and then
we haven't seen you all year, so I thought we'd get your take on the men's gold saga. Yesterday, press conferences left and right. What was that about?
It was about setting the record straight. Look,
how is this a political matter? A party political
What has this got to do with parties?
That's all you think.
We've got MPs talking about this.
Yeah.
We don't need a political party to organize a press conference to speak from the party's
because the
perspective.
political party was once in government, just about 24 months ago. There was a similar issue in the Brahafo region. The leader of that political party and the president of the republic was besmeared, even with all his efforts. We are putting forward concrete evidence, not wishy-washy, not hearsays, concrete evidence to establish that the government is complicit in the men's gold affair or saga. One, if I refer you to section 265, I think I'm correct, section 265 of the Companies Code, Act 179, it says that no private company, has the right or is permitted to invite members of the public, I'm paraphrasing, to invite members of the public to either invest in it with the promise of paying dividends or interest when you are not licensed to do so. So I'll leave Bank of Ghana out for now. I'll leave SEC out. The Registrar General's Department is the entity that is mandated to register companies. And at the time that every company is registered and incorporated, you state your stated objectives, the nature of your business. At the time Men's Gold was being incorporated, what was their stated nature of business? That is why the same law mandates all the companies to file their annual returns. It is not for fun. It is for tax purposes, and it is also to regulate that when you came to us to register that you want to, say, do farming, you are indeed engaged in farming. You are not engaging in the sale of precious minerals. You are not engaged in freight forwarding businesses. You are indeed engaged in farming. So when you don't do that, why do you think we have company inspectors? There are a lot of laws that we are not enforcing. We have company inspectors.
So what's your point?
My point is that when government says that it is not complicit, it is not correct. State institutions that are supposed to crack the whip in respect of the operations of this company went to sleep.
But isn't that state institutions?
Why? Is the state not government?
Really?
Why? The state is government.
Then we'll bring you back to the company
Right now.
didn't set up in
Hold on.
in 2017.
Sorry?
This company has been in existence.
Who told you? They metamorphosed. First, the company they established was called Men's Bank with a K. When they had problems with the Bank of Ghana, because they were operating in Kaswa, then they metamorphosed into Men's Bank with a C.
But how long has Men's Gold been in existence?
From about 2017.
Is that when it was incorporated?
You see, you can do what we call change of name. Okay? You can do what we call a change of name of a business entity. It's allowable. So we are conducting a lot of searches in this matter.
So what are you doing, Mr.
The point I am
You're
making,
taking NDC, your party, out of this situation. Is that what you're doing?
no, I'm not taking.
So let me ask you.
is saying.
So let me ask you
Yeah.
this. I think this will clarify it. The person who was the registrar, of
registrar of companies.
in December 2016,
Yeah.
was he changed in January 2017?
No, that's not the point I'm making.
So the same state institution
Yeah.
was responsible for Men's Bank's either transformation or re-registration or whatever into Men's Gold.
Yes.
It wasn't the responsibility of the political party, but of this institution.
Yes.
All right. So when you try and hang it on the neck of the political party, are you being fair?
No. Nobody has spoken about a political party at all. We speak of government. Look, government operates in a single continuum. So what we are simply saying is that when you stretch the argument in 2016 that as a government we were complicit in the operations of DKM in the Brown Half region, leading to the loss of depositors' money, by the same logic, accept responsibility as a government in the Men's Gold affair.
But I thought
the government says no.
I thought at that time you were saying this wasn't a political matter. This had nothing to do with politics. Let's deal with the issues, and let's not involve
Yes, we
politics.
made the argument. They
Yes.
said no.
So now you are going with their argument.
Yes, why not?
So they were right.
No?
Then why are you going with the argument?
Why? I have to go with the argument because you see, when you consider the functions of government is to protect the interest of your citizens at all times. You cannot say that because I fail to perform my functions as a government, when there are issues regarding my dereliction of duty, I should not be held liable. That's the point I'm making. So that if I am an aggrieved Men's Gold customer.
Are you?
No, I'm
Okay,
not.
all right.
That's what I'm saying. If I will be suing the Attorney General, and I will be adding the Registrar General's Department, and I'll be adding the SEC. I won't bring in Bank of Ghana, and I'll tell you why. When you go to section 123 thereabout of the SEC law, it also tells them what they should do when they detect that there are things like this happening in the system. They claim to have obtained licenses from the Minerals Commission. What were the supervisory responsibilities of Minerals Commission in this matter? So I'll join Minerals Commission. You see, we must begin to sue intelligently in this country. And the laws will be sifted and desilted for us.
I wish we had more time on this.
Yeah, but especially because some 53 soldiers have sued Men's Gold. So it
Indeed.
would have been interesting to. Yeah.
Yes, Men's Gold as a principal party,
But all
the
these
Attorney
other-
General,
yeah.
the Registrar General's Department, SEC, Minerals Commission, PMMC.
Okay. All right. So it looks like in the coming days we'll see a lot more suits, perhaps. Kojo, we've got a diabetes conversation
We
after this.
absolutely have. Yes, today on Healthy Thursday, we're going to talk about gestational diabetes. And now this is a condition that is quite prevalent. It's carbohydrate intolerance, okay? And it happens usually during pregnancy. Well, actually, it happens during pregnancy. Now, the figures are quite scary. We understand that it affects quite a large number, about 28% of pregnancies globally. And if you take all the diabetes complications during pregnancy, 90% of them are because of gestational diabetes as compared to just diabetes type 1 or type 2. And it creates a risk for mother and fetus, which can continue post-delivery. So we're going to talk all about it right after these messages.